Good morning, everyone. Another gray day here. I've had to rescue a goose who is attempting to be killed by another goose. Hey, little one. Oh. These are the Romans here. I like them. They have the most they have the most challenge. They like to push back at humans more than the other geese. You can see that the geese stripped all the bark on my lilac bush here during the winter when they had nothing else to chew on. It should come back from the roots, but I should fence it in so they can't do that again. They also ate down all of my, these are aspen trees. They come up from the roots of, for instance, this aspen tree. It sends its roots out underground, and they come over and over and over, and then they put up baby trees. So they're called suckers. I'm glad the geese are eating them some. I'm going to have to cut them all down to the ground, though. So, today, actually, I wanted to talk to you about food waste, because I have experience with waste and food streams today. Yesterday, a friend of mine brought over some expired food from the grocery store. So a lot of stores right now, there's a program where the stores will give the expired food to farmers, and that expired food can be fed to pigs or anything like that. Got hamburger buns, milk, and yogurt, and cheese, all of which is very good to supplement calories. Milk is really, really good for pigs. It has lots of protein and fat, which the grain that mine get doesn't have as much protein in it, so they really like having that extra protein. But yesterday, I fed a bunch of milk and cheese to my pigs, and you can see how much garbage is left over from that. I didn't feed them that much even, but because all the cheese and the milk all comes in these individual packages, I actually will use these milk packages. They're super useful to me. I use them either for soap molds or for planting, hi Thea, or for planting transplants like tomato plants or something before I take them into the garden. And so that's great to have those. I mean, they'll still go in the garbage, but they'll get used twice at least. Once for the milk and once for whatever I use them for. But there's all this garbage left over from reclaiming the just not even very much of what's sold at the grocery store. And this is more garbage than I would make for myself in a month. Or 2 months. Like half of my garbage is cat litter. So if I were just using like personal food garbage, I don't know, that's many months worth. So it takes a lot of work too, because every package has to be opened and stripped off the cheese, and then I take the cheese down to the pigs, and they're like, what is this? And then they're like, oh wait, this is good food, and they eat it. But normally my feed for the animals comes in this big, it's called a mini bulk sack, and I scoop it out and put it in these buckets, and then I take it to the pigs. And this grain that I use is grown locally, so it's not even shipped here. It's gathered from the farm, and it's put into silos on the farm, and then it's put directly into this bag. So there's very, very little plastic waste associated with the way that I normally feed my animals. And because I normally eat a whole lot of food from here, and I do a lot of canning, I just don't go through a lot of garbage. And it's always really shocking to me to see how much garbage there is associated with this food. Like, this is definitely several families worth of milk and cheese. I mean, I don't eat a lot of cheese. It's not very good for me, so I don't know really how much cheese people eat, but it's just so much packaging. And of course, the crows will pick up the packaging and they will scatter it all over the ground. So there's plastic all over my yard, which I need to pick up from time to time. And if I don't take it to the dump immediately, then it just gets scattered again. But the system where we take the food and we put it in these packages, and then we distribute it through a grocery store, and everyone is, you buy these individual portion sizes and you move them around, put them in your fridge, take them to work because it's convenient. It really does lead to a lot of garbage, and that garbage also takes energy to make in the first place. And I don't know that I have a much better system for the city, because you can't just have a big bin of food in a city. People will get sick. Sealing something is definitely a good way to make sure that it's not contaminated. And we are thinking right now, all of us, about how much we need to be careful about germs and spreading the germs. But we're also finding right now that because, this is the goose that I rescued. She was being cornered and attacked by another goose. So she hurt her leg, but she's walking. She's alive. Anyhow, part of the problem right now is that a lot of folks who would normally be selling food to restaurants, and food to restaurants gets sold in bigger containers, right? Like very large bags of flour, big buckets of lard and honey and I don't know, all of these things. And people can't really go through that much food, just one household, or it's, not labeled correctly for sale, which, labeling is important. It's important to know what you're getting in your food. But you can't just suddenly make thousands and thousands more little tiny milk cartons or thousands and thousands more little tiny flour bags and change that whole system. So we have all of this food on the one hand getting wasted because it can't be picked or shipped or packaged, and on the other hand, people would really like this food because it's being sold out. So I know in Prince George, our local restaurants have started doing some packaging in the restaurants. So they'll take their flour and their vegetables and they'll package them into smaller containers, which they used for takeout or something like that before, and then they're selling basically like a food box to people. So that's one way that folks are adapting right now with COVID and the change in supply lines to try and get food to people. So it's a complicated system, and there are reasons for the things that we do, and those things are not always as flexible as we would like. And so it's just interesting to think about, all of this garbage. On the one hand, it serves the purpose of keeping food clean and keeping people healthy. And on the other hand, it really does limit us in some ways because we need to be able to distribute food a little more flexibly sometimes, I think. So anyhow, that's me talking about food waste and looking at some geese and also some pieces of plastic. You can see things are really, really, really thawing here. It's so muddy in the pig pen. I'm gonna move them this weekend. I think I talked about that already. But the birds are just loving having all of this water around. This pond in the back. Oh, it's raining. Oh, this is one of the first rains of the year. Look at that muscovy. Josh brought me some acorns, so those are oak trees behind her waiting to be planted. The muscovies really do fly. It's so nice to see. This dog would like to be petted, and he would like me to make the mud go away. He does not like having muddy feet. Well, I think that the pig was out here already. Maybe not. I did some temporary fence blocking up there, which I think might have kept him in. Let's go see if there are any eggs. Oh. Hi, everyone. Oh, wow, there are some eggs. I really wish they wouldn't do that. Look in there. Oh my goodness, can you even see? There are like 2 eggs just down in this crack. That's not very helpful, guys. Oh, I think the pig must have been in here because the food is empty. And there are no eggs. Well, they would like me to give them breakfast. I'll give you breakfast soon. I'm just looking to see if there are eggs. Okay. Excuse me, little ones. Excuse me. Oh, here comes a muscovy. She thinks I put some food in there. Oh. Muscovy behaviors. Bobbing their heads like that. It's so neat. They're very, very social animals. Honestly, all my birds are. Some of them are social in different ways from each other. There's a duck going through all the leaves, looking for bugs. Look at that. What a good job he's doing digging. She is doing... Oh, sorry, chicken. I almost tripped over rhubarb here. We're just going to go look and see if there are eggs. Well, there's a goose. There were a lot of eggs in there yesterday afternoon. Oh, there we go. When all the geese got off, but I didn't take the eggs. I probably should have. Here's a mix of duck, I think muscovy, and goose eggs under there, which isn't good because muscovy eggs take longer to hatch than goose eggs. So if the goose hatches her babies, then the muscovies will all die just a couple days before hatching. Oh look, you can almost see my garden. And talk about food waste, but I make plastic waste when I leave these out. I need to drain this because sitting in water like that will kill plants really easily. I have a lot of plum rootstocks and apple rootstocks in that pool. And over here, oh, this is exciting. This is exciting. I have raspberries. These are all raspberries right here, sticking up. And over here, you can see the little sticks. Those are sour cherries. Yeah. So those all need to be moved before I put my actual garden in here. They'll be going up into onto that hill, onto the hill up here, and into the thumbs back there. Oh, that's so exciting! It's my garden. Oh, and there are these holes. I don't know if those are duck holes or if those are tunnels, because we have voles, which are animals that tunnel around under the snow, and they chew on the bark. They actually eat the bark of trees. So I'm just checking here. Oh yeah, that one got eaten. If they don't chew all the way around, then the tree is probably okay. And if they chew all the way around, then the tree is dead. Just takes that little 1 inch of chewing, which kind of sucks. Oh look, that one got eaten really bad. Well, I will have to go and look at them and make sure they're not totally completely chewed all the way around later, but it's not good. All right, well, you have a good afternoon. I'll leave you to it.